I'm still learning a ton about sustainable fisheries. It's something that I'm really passionate about and feel like I still know almost nothing. Trying to be mindful of being authentic and being true to what I want to cook. I wanted to go to a place where the oysters were fresh, they were well cared for, and there was really delicious cold white wine that was intended to be with oysters. My name's Renee Erickson, and I'm the chef for Sea Creatures Restaurants. I've been a chef for 20 years. It's the hardest work ever to grow oysters, and to be able to tell that story is really special. An oyster is farmed, it starts with a seed, so that comes from the spawn or the spat from oysters, and that gets attached to a little tiny piece of shell that you then nurse, and then you put it out on the beach and continue to watch it grow. Historically in the Northwest, an oyster was served cooked mostly or grilled, and so I think a lot of the nuance of what makes an oyster special is sometimes cooked away. You're really able to notice the place that the oyster comes from, as well as the flavor components and the profile that you get from where it lives, what it eats, the time of year. Generally, 2 to 3 years later, you end up with an oyster that's ready to serve in an oyster bar. Has anyone shucked an oyster? You all just come to my restaurants and eat them? Yay! So I'm gonna walk you through how to shuck an oyster, and then I'm gonna keep kind of talking about why I love them. So for shucking an oyster, you wanna make sure that you're starting with a really clean oyster, so give it a rinse if you need to. And you're gonna wanna insert it into the hinge. And all you wanna do is just gently try to get it to stick. You're gonna gently rock your hands kind of left and right until the oyster cracks like that. There's a muscle, the adductor muscle is here and on the bottom. And so you want to slide your knife down the right side so that you detach it here. And did you unhook it from the shell underneath? Yeah. If you've opened it, you should be able to get it still underneath right there and then slide it down.
Okay,
there you go.
Yep. My way that way.
Perfect. Did anyone stab themselves? Be honest. Nope. Look at that. I love it. So as I open this, I'm looking at the oyster and I'm kind of looking at like what it looks like. Is it firm? Is it spawny? And all of that is part of oyster as a seasonal product. People are really starting to pay attention to the fact that what goes down their drain will end up in our waters, and that impacts the quality of the oyster, the quality of the water.
Yeah, so in terms of fresh, great fish, everyone always talks about wild. What makes oysters okay to be farmed?
You know, oysters, no protein or vegetable is required to harvest, to ship, to produce food, and then feed this other thing. It's really interesting to talk about flavors in an oyster, and I think if you cover it up with vinegars and hot sauces and all of that, you're kind of missing the point. Actually eat the oyster. A lot of times people are afraid of an oyster, so they like swallow it whole. We ask you to eat the oyster without anything on it so that you can actually taste it. They're dramatically different in texture and flavor, and that's due to weather, heat, what it's been eating, what it's not been eating, where it lives in the water. To be a really good cook, I think you have to live it 24 hours a day. There's too much to learn and too much going on. Meet farmers and really see what this world is about as far as the ingredients that you're cooking with. It will make you respect what you're doing more and care more about the end result.